Good evening. Tonight we are going to be talking about measuring length with rulers. And the first thing we need to do is watch our video. Our lesson today is about measuring with rulers. So we're going to start with the metric system first. The most common unit that is used in the metric system is centimeters, and we abbreviate that with cm. Now, centimeters, each centimeter is divided into 10 millimeters, and we abbreviate that mm. So each millimeter is 1/10 of a centimeter because we divide our centimeters into 10 parts to get the millimeters. Let's look at an example. Okay, so on our example, we have the arrow. Above the arrow, we have a ruler that is measured out into millimeters, and we have on the bottom a ruler that is measured out into centimeters. What is the length of the arrow in centimeters and millimeters? It is 40 millimeters or 4 centimeters. Notice that to go from millimeters to centimeters, I divided by 10. If we wanted to go the opposite way, from centimeters to millimeters, we would multiply by 10. Let's look at another example. What is the length of this rectangle in millimeters? That is correct. It is 25 millimeters. Next, we're going to talk about the U.S. customary measurements. And on a U.S. customary ruler, they are measured out in inches. And if you notice, this section of our ruler goes from 0 to 3. And then we have tick marks. Notice that our tick marks are 3 different sizes. And we're going to talk about that. Let's zoom in on one of the parts. So if we look at the section between the 0 and the 1, our first tick mark represents 1/8. If you count all of the spaces between the 0 and the 1, you're going to come up with 8 spaces. So it is divided into eighths. And then you proceed to continue to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8/8 would be the 1. Now, every so often you get a larger tick mark. If you notice above 2/8, another name for 2/8 is 1/4. So that tick mark is the 1/4 mark. The half is the biggest of the tick marks, and it is the same as 4/8. And then the 3/4 is the same size as the 1/4 tick mark, but they are bigger than the 1/8 tick marks, so that you know that there are 2 names that you can use for that. So let's look at an example. What is the length of the arrow in inches? Use a mixed number to create your answer. That is correct. It is 2.5 inches. One of the things that I recommend for you when you are using your textbooks would be to take a piece of paper and slide it to the end of the figure that they want you to measure so that you can make sure you get the correct answer. You're getting to the correct tick mark. Because a lot of times I find that 5th graders will be 1 or 2 tick marks off because their eyes play tricks on them. That's just a helpful hint. Now it's your turn. On the top, I'd like you to measure in millimeters and centimeters. The arrow you can do in both centimeters and millimeters. The nail you can only answer in millimeters. And then the bottom ruler, Please mark where each one of those arrows, the fraction or mixed number that goes with each one of those arrows. Check your answers to mine. If you have any questions, make sure you ask in class. Now it's time to summarize your learning. Rulers are used to measure lengths. Explain how to decide what fraction the tick marks between the whole numbers represent on a ruler. Make sure your answer is detailed as you give your explanation. Now ask one question about your learning. See you in class tomorrow.